One. Hey, welcome back to Charles O Sports, where last show got cut short due to technical difficulties, but hey, we're back. All right. I got you got Mike and Zach with you, and we were talking about college football the first week and a few things coming up this for week number two. There aren't a whole lot of big games coming up in week number two, but I do want to mention something that is interesting. Is going to be a change for us Sooner fans and you Longhorn fans out there as well. I just looked this up. The Oklahoma Houston game is at it's about 7:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday, the 7th of September. It's on the SEC network. Okay. I don't know a damn thing about the SEC network, do you?
No, I'll just illegally watch it on my Russian website, so it doesn't matter to me.
No, I can appreciate that, you know. It's just I just pulled that up and I was like SEC network. What the heck is that? So I guess that for us folks who don't illegally watch on the Russian website, although hey, I do whatever I can to watch the UFC fights these days. It's going to be a learning curve to check out when these games are. So, um, I did want to mention there's an interesting game also on Saturday with the 16th ranked Oklahoma State Cowboys versus Suey, the Ultrasound Razorbacks. Kind of a old school game there. Um, this game is in Stillwater for our Cowboy fans out there who, yeah, we like you guys too. We just don't care nothing for the Pokes. Um, Ollie Gordon should have a field day out there. Just interesting early season game. I was impressed that Oklahoma State scheduled South Dakota State, the freaking gauntlet super division two, or sorry, FCS team, you know, two-time defending national champion last week, but they got through that game pretty good. And they got non-powerhouse SEC team Arkansas coming up. So, um, but when you look through the rest of the schedule, there's only one other game that has top 20 teams, top 25 teams. You get Tennessee at NC State. That's interesting. That's actually the ABC night game. So maybe you get to actually check that one out.
I think with the game in Stillwater, it's going to be a game that Arkansas, they make a lot of plays and they should win, but they do a lot of stupid stuff in the second half. They give up a 3rd and 15 run to Gordon and he gets 16. And then they throw the ball up in there the next play just to get a pass interference and they get it. And then Oklahoma State goes and scores. So shout out to Oklahoma State for selling out their stadium. That's a big deal when they do that.
Heck
They're
yeah.
because they suck. So they're playing Arkansas, who's got some dudes. Their QB's pretty good. I think his name's Green, Talon Green, or
I don't have
something.
any
But
freaking. I
they
just
got some stud receivers. Jaquindon Jackson's there. I think that's his name. He's their running back number 22. He'll make some plays, but they'll just do something stupid and lose.
so you're
But
saying that
that NC State,
Arkansas is going to pull a Gundy out there?
yeah, it's gonna be just Oklahoma State, but wearing red and white in
That's
that
fair.
game. They're gonna do something stupid. But I do like that NC State game because they played really bad. They almost lost to Western Carolina. I was
Hmm.
in Norman and they played Western Carolina. I think they won 70-0 a couple years ago.
Yeah, I
So it was
remember
pretty
that game.
bad. That game was they needed to come back and win. But I that could be interesting because NC State has such a good defense and it's a good environment at night for Tennessee to go into.
Yeah, yeah. So not a whole lot of stake, if you will, on the schedule this weekend, but there's some sizzle out there, and it'd be fun to watch. And we love our college football. He's
I
got
got one.
one.
One more. Boise State and Oregon play. I
Yeah,
think that game's at night. A lot of offense in that game. I think that Oregon's offense is going to get rolling, and Boise State's going to run the ball well, and the uniforms will look cool. So,
uniforms will be killer out there, man. I love the Ducks uniforms. Absolutely love
yeah,
them. Boise, they have that whatever that blue color is. That blue color is freaking awesome.
yeah.
The
I
blue and
agree.
that kind of neon orange, it goes together. It's really cool. So we're going to kind of transition into our 10-minute NFL preview here. And, um, the thing about the NFL is like the biggest sporting conglomeration, obviously, in the United States. I don't know how it compares to English Premier League and all that. I know that like the Dallas Cowboys franchise is valued much higher than any other professional sports team worldwide. I don't care about any of that crap. But what that means is that year round you hear about NFL, NFL, NFL. Middle of the Olympics, NFL. NBA Finals. What's the NFL doing? Um, so the talk is done. It's finally here. We got the two-time defending Super Bowl champs, the Kansas City Chiefs, looking for an unprecedented three-peat. Gonna be very hard to do, but honestly, if when those guys are in the playoffs, I can't pick against them. Um, we got the continuing soap opera of the Dallas Cowboys and their Whataburger wannabe uh, cashier Jerry Jones pulling the strings there. They didn't really, Dallas has won 36 games in the last three seasons, but they didn't really do anything to try to improve themselves this offseason. And they had this hellacious time in the playoffs. So, lots of subplots, Tom Brady going to be an announcer out there on the Fox analyst. It's going to be interesting to hear. The Manning cast on Monday nights is going to have freaking Bill Belichick uh, join them for the first segment every week. That's pretty cool. Like Bill Belichick or not, uh, he's polarizing and he's got this encyclopedic knowledge of the game, and he's actually pretty funny. I'm looking forward to that. Lots of stuff. Season starts Thursday night with the Chiefs and the Ravens. So, what do you think, man? What do you think? What are we looking at this year?
I think we're not going to have an injury year like we did the last two. I think we're going to have fully healthy teams that if their team sucks or loses in the playoffs, they don't have any excuse. So I'm talking to the Bengals fans that watch this. Yep, they're going to be fine. So I think it'll be interesting to see some of the young guys. I hope the Bears do better because they've stunk, and I hope Caleb does well out there. It'll be interesting to see some of these teams. The Texans added Stephon Diggs.
Mm,
Yeah, because Trayvon plays defense. Yeah.
yeah,
So that'll be interesting. The Lions, they're going to win some close games. They're going to lose some close games, and Dan Campbell's going to be the reason they lose.
how can you not love the freaking Detroit Lions, though? You got to love them.
I like.
If I was a super fan of theirs, I would probably have massive hypertension and probably a stroke at least three times a week. Um, yeah, that's not a good thing. But you got to love the passion that they play with and everything. And I hope that they, kind of build up on their performance last year.
I agree. I like their team. I just feel like they're handicapped by their coach's decision making at times. But I think it'll be an interesting year. There's some solid teams, as you said. Dallas, I expect them to be stagnant. I think 12-5, lose in the first round, second round again is what it is. But team like the 49ers, I think their window's starting to close. They did re-sign some guys, but these guys are getting older. They're getting injured. I don't think that they're even going to be in the Super Bowl again. I think they could win a playoff game or two, but I don't think they'll be in the Super Bowl this year. I don't like the Bills. I think Josh Allen sucks. Um, I don't know how to feel about um, what's their name. The I don't know why I'm blanking. I had this whole list in my head. Uh, oh, the Jets with Aaron Rodgers.
Man, there's
So
no telling, man.
there's
There's
no telling them.
absolutely no telling.
Yeah, they. I don't expect anything out of them because I don't know how their playmakers are. Aaron Rodgers isn't gonna be the sole reason that team wins. But I do like just talking about a game. I like the game on Friday. I think that's cool for a kickoff weekend to have a Friday night NFL game with the Packers and Eagles. So that'll be a fun game.
That game is in Brazil.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. There's all kinds of things about that. They're talking about the field itself. What kind of shape is it going to be in? Um, and then it, it's very dangerous down there. Like the NFL has, uh, I don't know if they've given orders for the teams just to stay in the hotel, but the teams have probably done that. Um, uh, I don't know. I think it's cool that the NFL wants to expand everywhere and around the world. That's cool. They've had some awesome games on the European continent, Germany and England, Brazil. Yeah, awful lot of people down there. They love football, obviously, and I'm sure they have tons of fanatical fans who's going to be excited to see the NFL. But um, no, we'll see. It's pretty cool. Friday night game, just kind of a lot of unknowns. NFL typically there's the some of the teams are going to have growing pains at the beginning. I do think, you're talking about the 49ers. Don't expect the 49ers to have a hot start. And I've got tons of 49er buddies out there. Just they breathe the 49ers going back to Joe Montana days. But they've had a lot. I mean, their rookie wide receiver got freaking shot last week. Um, their superstar, possibly greatest offensive tackle when it's all said and done of all time, Trent Williams, shout out to uh, one of the greatest Oklahoma Sooners ever. He literally signed his contract yesterday. Um, Obviously, the deal with Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel's getting a little older. George Kittle remains an incredible tight end. Brock Purdy does his job. But I think this is their season. This is the last one in this window because if Brock Purdy has even a decent year, that team toward the end of the season is going to be playoff bound. And maybe they don't win the whole thing, but they're going to be there. But next year, they're going to have to pay up some other guys and they're going to have to break off some pieces. So I think this is the last season of this run as it's made to be. And we'll see if Kyle Shanahan is really the genius or is he just the guy that gets the Super Bowl and loses.
It'll be interesting to see how it plays out. It's a long year. Teams are going to start hot and then they'll suck, kind of like the Eagles did last year. So there's also going to be the teams that are 4-6 in week 12 and then they go on a heater and do really well at the end. So you can't really read into the NFL until I think Thanksgiving, honestly, because
Yeah,
you just
yeah.
don't know because teams. I did personally. I don't think it'll be an injury year, but teams are going to get hurt. They're going to get banged up, and there's locker room problems like the Eagles had. So you just don't know how it can flip, and it'll be interesting. I'm excited to watch just the Cowboys because well, they're fun to watch. I expect them to get bounced again in the playoffs, but it's fun while it lasts, and it'll be some
This
interesting.
is the year, baby. This is the year. This is
Yeah,
it.
no,
Okay.
no, it's not. It's not.
I've been saying that ever since 1995. This is the damn year. This is it.
No, no, they're gonna win. They are gonna win a lot, but they're not gonna win when it matters, and that's okay because only one team can win the whole thing. But I just don't think the NFC team's gonna win. I'm picking the AFC this year.
Well, if you look at the AFC, I'm going to start kind of the middle of the pack here with some teams. I'm going to pick on the Miami Dolphins for a second. Very fun to watch. Obviously, they've had trouble come playoff time, and especially in cold weather cities. I mean, these guys are professional football players. They should be able to come up with something because in the AFC, unless you're the number one seed, you're going to have to go to Kansas City or you're going to have to go to Baltimore, or this year, depending on uh, what version of Aaron Rodgers you get, if he can stay healthy, you might have to go through New York. It's going to be freaking cold in playoffs in January. So you have to be able to handle that some way. And I love the Dolphins. I love Mike McDaniel. He's fascinating as a head coach, and they've got tons of talent out there on the offensive side. But um, I'm talking about them as like a middle of the pack team. They're probably like a 10-7 type team. If you put them in the NFC, they're 12-5. They're competitive for the number one seed. So the AFC is friggin' stacked, man. Yeah, obviously you get the Chiefs and um, just what else can you say about them? Two-time defending champs, and they added some explosive players this offseason with Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy, the 4.240 guy out of Texas that they signed. So you've got them. You've got last year's number one seed, Baltimore, who's got better. They added Derrick Henry, who Dallas could have got for yeah, just a 4 for $5 Wendy combo meal. They didn't do it. Um, yeah, I'm kind of down on Buffalo for one reason. They got rid of their top two wide receivers. They didn't really bring anybody else in. We're definitely going to get to see just how good Josh Allen is, if he's a truly a great talent or if he's like what you mentioned, he sucks. Okay. But then keep looking around. You got a new look San Diego Chargers with that what's that guy's name? What's his name? Oh yeah, Jim Harbaugh. He's back in the NFL. You got the Denver Broncos with Sean Payton. They offloaded Russell Wilson, starting from scratch out there. Uh, the Raiders don't have a quarterback. And you got freaking Houston Texans out there, came out of nowhere last year. They've got tons of guys on rookie contracts. That's a team that could win the Super Bowl. I don't think in the Super Bowl the 24 season, but they could be a favorite next year. So, lots of interesting stuff out there. You got maybe a resurgent Jacksonville team, got an awful lot of young guys out there. I'm not sold on them. I think they are kind of like the Jazzercise strength and conditioning program. They're pretty soft, but lots of stuff. Then you got the saga of the Cleveland Browns, Deshaun Jackson. Just they got this incredible defense, and they've got enough players on offense to do some damage. But that guy might end up being the biggest bust of all time, considering what they paid him. And finally, the biggest boomer bust that there is, you already touched on this, the Cincinnati Bengals, okay, with the cheapest owner in the history of professional sports for a billionaire. Um, I don't know if Jamar Chase is going to be there or not. I do think that as long as Joe Burrow is upright, they're going to have a good year. Um, him and his Cody Rhodes haircut. Shout out to those who know what I'm talking about with his blonde dye job. But AFC is stacked. NFC, you've got a handful of teams. I do think the Eagles are going to be interesting to watch, see if their players, and particularly Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni, head coach, have gelled more. I think, don't they have old Dallas's OC now? Kellen Moore's out there, I think. Yeah. So, yeah, lots of stuff, and then you've got plenty of bottom feeders in the NFL. New England Patriots, man, it's impossible to feel sorry for a New England Patriots fan considering how successful they've been the last 25 years overall, but they frickin' suck.
Yeah, it's pretty weird. These teams, they do suck in record and how they play, but from the Chiefs to the Commanders, that gap is not as big as we think. So, couple injuries, couple weird bounces in games, and these teams have 4 or 5 extra wins. So, it's weird quantifying it like that, but I know what you mean. I don't expect anything out of them or the Raiders or anybody like that. I think an interesting team that's not going to actually do anything uh, too crazy is the Rams. They have a great offense and they're going to win a lot of games with Matt Stafford. They'll lose in the playoffs in a heartbreaker, but they'll be fun to watch. They're kind of a little wild card team,
Yeah.
so it'll be interesting. I don't trust the Ravens at all. You brought them up. I like Lamar Jackson, but he's just as bad as the Cowboys in the playoffs. He hasn't done anything, him and the Ravens. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's weird that week one hasn't started and we're talking about playoffs already. So
Yeah, no, that just shows you the drawl of the NFL.
yeah,
I was trying to find, yeah, I'm looking through the schedule this week, and I'm trying to find somebody who could make some sort of a run. And I don't think it's a good story down there in Tampa, especially with Baker Mayfield and Mike Evans, just a superstar receiver who he's like the Energizer Bunny, just keeps going and going. They were 9-8 division winner, won a playoff game last year. Um, Fun to watch. I'm pulling for them. They're like the little engine that could. Uh, Indianapolis Colts and Anthony Richardson. Going to be interesting to follow them as well. You know, he was getting all these accolades after 4 games last year. Then he had this season-ending injury. In small sample size, it's easy to pile on the praises for somebody who just plays a few games and then you don't see him. Interesting to watch. And of course, always going back to the NFC or I'm sorry, the AFC North, Pittsburgh Steelers always have a winning record. Yeah, this year, could this be the year they don't? It could happen. It could
I
happen.
think they'll be 9-8, and they'll knock some team out of the playoffs because they lose to the Steelers. They'll do that, but I don't think they'll make it. And if they do, they'll have another embarrassing performance like that Bills game last year.
Yeah,
So I just don't think their quarterback plays there. Their defense is they're like a pest. They're very annoying, but their offense can't score at all.
yeah, yeah. Just we're gonna wrap it up here. You know, there's some other teams, the Vikings and Giants, the Titans. They all suck. Cardinals are interesting team. They don't have any defense at all, but I am real excited to watch and see how Marvin Harrison does with Kyler Murray out there, healthy Kyler Murray. They could be a real fun to watch 7-10 team, you know. But like Zach, I'm kind of pulling for the Bears. I've always been kind of a closet Bears fan all these years, going back to the Super Bowl shuffle team of 1980 frickin' 5. Could they go back to the future and do it again? Probably not this year, but they have an awful lot of talent up there. And you know, as far as rookie quarterbacks go, you could argue that no rookie quarterback has ever walked into a better situation than Caleb Williams had. So,
Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, and then a
uh,
defense on the lake. Yeah, look out.
yeah, gonna be fun to watch. But I think that's about all we got for for our double hitter tonight, man. We got lots of football coming up. It's going to be fun. And we all know that when this time of year starts, you're like, man, it's still freaking hot outside, but it's going to cool down. Pretty soon we're going to be wearing hoodies out there. It's going to be Halloween. We're going to be stealing candy from the kids. Thanksgiving, before you know it, be shopping for Christmas. And next thing you know, it's a Super Bowl, and then like, man, what happened? We just had our 1st of September show, and now it's already over. So I always, during football season, I try to live in the moment, okay, and but it goes by fast, just like life. But that's your public service announcement for the night. I don't know where the hell that came from.
Sometimes your brain gets chugging on something and you don't actually know where it's going, but you just
I,
keep.
I think that sometimes, man, my lack of hair, I get one tiny ray of the sun that just pierces my brain, my skull, and it penetrates my brain in the wrong spot. And so stuff starts to get short circuited out there. And after I get going, I'm fine. But before that, I totally suck. So
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to sit here and listen to you live, but watching it back later, and I'm just thinking, where is this guy going? Where is he going?
yeah, I don't
I,
know. That's what makes this beautiful. It's unscripted, unedited, with about 15 seconds of prep time before we start. So
it's true.
yeah, it's good stuff. So folks, say thanks for joining us tonight. Our double feature of Jaws on Sports, your best show on the interwebs out there. And we're going to have a bunch of shows going forward as we get into college and NFL. And we've got some good UFC fights coming up. So lots to talk about as we go along. We'll see you again. I'm Mike. Any last words, Zach?
It's not the Cowboys' year, man.
It's
It's not.
Cowboys year, man.
No, it's not their year, but it'll be fun to watch. Is what it is, though. I've accepted it.
I've accepted it as well. It's their year. Go Dallas, putting on that ring in February. Like and subscribe us, folks. Tell all your friends this is the best damn show there is. See you, buddy. Have a good night, folks.